Welcome to Video Creator, where today we uncover the terrifying summer of 1858, when London was nearly destroyed by a smell. The sun beat down relentlessly on the Victorian capital, turning the winding River Thames into a fermenting cauldron of raw human waste. It was no longer a river, but a massive open sewer, carrying the filth of over 3 million people directly through the city. The stench was so overpowering that it invaded every home, every shop, and every palace, making it impossible to breathe fresh air. Even the most powerful men in the British Empire were not safe, as the toxic fumes seeped into the Houses of Parliament. Politicians debated with handkerchiefs pressed to their faces, unable to focus on legislation, while the river outside threatened to suffocate them all. Desperate measures were taken, including soaking heavy curtains in strong chemicals, to create a barrier against the invisible enemy attacking their senses. Boatmen refused to ferry passengers across the water, claiming the vapour rising from the sludge was thick enough to make anyone faint. This was the Great Stink, a crisis that brought the capital of the world's greatest empire to its knees in humiliating defeat. Even a short pleasure cruise on the river by Queen Victoria was abandoned within minutes because the smell was simply too unbearable. But for the poor living in the slums, the smell was not just a nuisance, it was a constant reminder of death. They drew their drinking water from the same sources where cesspits leak, unknowingly poisoning themselves and their families with every single sip. Lurking in this dirty water was a microscopic killer known as cholera, a disease that struck with terrifying speed and no mercy. Victims would turn a ghostly blue as their bodies dehydrated rapidly, often dying within hours of the first symptom appearing on them. Thousands perished in previous outbreaks, and the summer heat threatened to bring another wave of mass death to the crowded city. Ironically, doctors believed in the miasma theory, thinking the smell itself caused the disease, rather than the contaminated water people drank. One man named John Snow had proven water was the culprit, but the establishment was too stubborn to listen to his warnings. London had over 200,000 cesspits, and they were all overflowing into the streets and eventually into the River Thames. The medieval sewer system was never designed for a booming industrial population, and it was collapsing under the weight of modern waste. The invention of the flush toilet actually made things worse, as it flushed huge volumes of waste straight into the stagnant river. As the heat wave continued, the river levels dropped, exposing banks of sludge that had been accumulating for decades under the water. Scavengers known as mudlarks waded through this toxic filth, risking their lives for a few coins found in the deadly muck. Newspapers published terrifying cartoons of death rowing on the Thames, fueling panic among the public who feared the end was near. The stench became a political crisis when MPs fled the committee rooms, finally realising they could no longer ignore the problem. Benjamin Disraeli rushed a bill through Parliament in record time, giving full power and funding to anyone who could fix this. Enter Joseph Bazalgette, a brilliant civil engineer who had a plan so ambitious that many critics called it impossible and insane. He proposed building a massive network of underground tunnels to intercept the sewage and carry it far away from the city centre. His design relied on gravity to move waste miles downstream, utilising the natural slope of the land to clean the city. It was the largest civil engineering project in the world at that time, requiring an army of labourers to dig by hand. Bazalgette was obsessed with quality, ensuring every brick was tested, because he knew this system had to last for centuries. He reclaimed land from the river to build the embankments, hiding the massive sewer pipes beneath wide, beautiful roads and gardens. Men worked in dangerous conditions deep underground, facing the constant risk of cave-ins, toxic gas pockets, and sudden flooding tides. Tragedy struck several times as tunnels collapsed, burying workers alive, but the construction pressed on with grim determination and urgency. Bazalgette was tireless, personally inspecting the tunnels and fighting with contractors to ensure no corners were cut during the construction. They used 318 million bricks to create tunnels that were not just functional, but architectural masterpieces of engineering. The tunnels were so large that you could drive a steam train through them, a hidden city beneath the streets of London. Labour strikes and rising costs threatened to halt the project, But the memory of the Great Stink kept the funding flowing. He built pumping stations that looked like cathedrals, believing that public works should be beautiful monuments to human progress and hygiene. Inside these cathedrals of sewage, massive steam engines worked day and night to lift the waste and push it out to sea. The system was designed to release the waste only when the tide turned, ensuring it was washed away into the ocean forever. One final outbreak in 1866 proved Bazalgette right, as it only affected the one area not yet connected to his sewers. Once the final section was completed, cholera never returned to London again, saving countless lives in the decades that followed. The official opening was a grand affair, with royalty turning the wheels that set the great pumps into motion for the first time. The river began to breathe again. Fish returned to the waters, and the terrifying smell that once paralysed the city finally vanished. Bazalgette had done the impossible. He had tamed the Thames and built a sanitary shield that protected millions of unsuspecting citizens. Today, when you drive along the Thames embankment, you are actually driving on top of Bazalgette's massive intercepting sewer tunnels. Londoners walk over this hidden world every day, unaware that this silent network is the only reason their city can exist. Without this Victorian mega-project, London would have remained a disease-ridden swamp, unable to grow into the global metropolis it is today. There is a small monument to Bazalgette on the riverbank, but his true monument is the health of the city itself. Amazingly, the system is still in use today, a testament to the incredible foresight and engineering quality of the Victorian era. The Great Stink was a turning point that forced humanity to choose between drowning in its own filth or engineering a solution. London's success inspired cities like Paris, Berlin, and New York to build their own modern sewer systems, saving millions globally. It marked the birth of modern public health, proving that government investment in infrastructure is the most effective medicine of all. Science eventually triumphed over superstition, burying the miasma theory and paving the way for the germ theory of disease to flourish. We often take sanitation for granted, forgetting that civilization is only 3 meals and a working sewer system away from anarchy. The River Thames, once a source of death, is now a symbol of life, hosting rowing competitions and tourist boats daily. Even now, London is building a new super sewer to help Bazalgette's tunnels, continuing his legacy of protecting the river. It is a continuous battle against nature and population growth, a battle that started with a terrible smell one hot summer. We remember the victims of the cholera outbreaks, whose tragic deaths forced the government to finally take action and save the city. Joseph Bazalgette remains one of the greatest heroes in British history, though he never led an army or conquered a nation. His weapon was engineering, his battlefield was the underground, and his victory granted the gift of health to future generations. So next time you flush a toilet or drink a glass of tap water, take a moment to appreciate the hidden infrastructure. It is the invisible shield that keeps the monsters of disease at bay, allowing us to live our modern lives in safety. The Great Stink of 1858 was a horrific event, but it was necessary to wake the world up to sanitation. History is not just about kings and wars. It is also about the smell, the filth, and the engineers who clean it up. The curtains at Parliament no longer need to be soaked in chemicals, and the river outside flows quietly to the sea. Nature has recovered, and the scars of the Industrial Revolution have healed, leaving behind a legacy of resilience and innovation. From a cesspool of death to a model of modern hygiene, London's journey is a powerful lesson for the entire world. We must learn from the past to protect our future, ensuring that we never let our environment degrade to such levels again. Clean water and sanitation remain the most critical challenges for humanity as we face a new era of climate change. Who will be the Joseph Bazalgette of our time, solving the crises of today with the same courage and brilliant engineering? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the dark, smelly, but incredibly important history of Victorian London sewers. If you are grateful for your modern plumbing, hit that like button and share this story with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to Video Creator for more fascinating documentaries about the events that shaped our modern world. This has been a production of Video Creator. We will see you in the next video. Stay curious and stay clean.